An index typically resides at the end of the document, and an index generally has keywords that are in the document and what pages they can be found on in the document. To create an index requires 3 steps, and the first step is to create a completely new file. I've actually created a completely new file, so you don't have to sit here and watch me typing, but I've created a brand new file and I've just inserted a table just by going Insert and Table, and I've inserted a 2-column table, and I've typed all the words that I want it to find in the document decorating. Now when I type the words in the first column, of course it makes the first letter capitals, and that's due to autocorrect, which you find under File and Options and Proofing and autocorrect options. And the fact that it capitalizes the first letter of table cells is ticked. So I'll cancel out of there. So what I want to do is find every instance of these words in the document decorating, but it will only find planning where there's a capital P, and yet I want it to find planning when it's in lowercase as well as uppercase. So I actually have to enter planning 3 times in this table, one with capitals, one in lowercase, and one with an initial capital. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to highlight this table, and I'm going to copy this information. But prior to copying it, I'm first of all going to change this all to lowercase. Now I could use the Home tab in the ribbon, and in the font group I could hit the Change Case button and choose lowercase. Or I could press the key combination Shift F3 until the text appeared in lowercase. There's my lowercase version of the words, and now I'll take a copy of that information, click immediately below the table and paste. And here is my second instance of each word, starting with planning, and I'm going to highlight this 26 rows, and I'm going to change this lot to uppercase. So now I have planning with all in lowercase and planning with all capitals, and I'm going to copy this information and paste it a 3rd time, or a 3rd instance, below this table. And now I have a 3rd instance of planning, but this collection of rows I'm going to highlight, and I'm going to change it that it has an initial capital. So I'm going back to the Change Case button in my Home tab in the ribbon, and I'll choose Capitalize each word, or Sentence Case. So the idea here is you create a table 2 columns wide that has all the words that you want to include in your index, and you include every variation in case. So planning in lowercase, planning in uppercase, and planning with a capital P. I now want to save this file. This is my file that I'm using for my index. So I'm going to go to File in the ribbon, and I'm going to save as index, and I'll just put it to the desktop so I can find it easy, and I'll call it index and save. So I've created my index file, and now I'll close this file. So I'll simply go to File in the ribbon and choose Close. So I'm back in my decorating document, and now I'm ready to do the second phase. The second phase is to get Word to automatically mark every word in this document based on that table in that other file. So for this I'm actually going to go to References, and I'm going to go to the Index group and insert Index. There's a button in here called AutoMark, and I'm going to click AutoMark. It then wants to know where's the file that contains the table that has all the words that I want in my index. So here's the file index I just created, and I'm going to click Open. Word has ripped through this document and put a whole lot of XE fields that you can see here. XE bed covers, XE kitchen. XE stands for index entry. So these are all the index entries. Now it's showing them to me so I can see what's going on, but I might decide that I don't want to see the index entries. And if that was the case, I'd go to the Home tab in the ribbon, and I'd turn off the Show Hide button, which appears in the paragraph group. Notice also the shortcut key is Control *. But if I turn this button off, I don't see all the index entries. So typically they're hidden, they don't get printed. Now what I'd like to do is switch my view back to Print Layout. So from the View tab in the ribbon, I can choose Print Layout. And I'm seeing my document as it would be printed. I now want to go to the end of my document, so I'll press Control End, END, to go to the end of the document. I just happen to be on a separate page, which is great, otherwise I'd press Control Enter and create a new page, and I'm going to type index and press Enter a couple of times, and this is where I'd like my index to be at the end of the document. The third and final step now is to go to the References tab in the ribbon and go back to the Index group and insert Index. Now there are various styles or formats you can choose, and for example I'm going to hit this drop down here and choose the formal style, which is the one I like the most. I can also then just click OK and I have an index. If at any time you felt that you didn't want this particular style, or you wanted just one column and not two columns, you can go back to Insert Index, which you'll find in the References tab in the ribbon. You can modify the format. I might choose simple, and I might choose one column instead of two. When I click OK, it will ask, do you want to replace the selected index? So I click yes, and it's replaced my index with a simple index, which is one column. But I might change it back to formal in one column. So on the References tab in the ribbon, I'll go back to the Insert Index button, I'll change my format from simple back to formal, and I'll leave it at one column, and OK. Yes, I do want to replace the current index, so I'll go yes. And there's the index at the end of my document. If you suddenly thought of a word that you didn't include in your index, so let me find a word. Let's say I suddenly thought of matting. Oh no, canopy I might go with. What I'll do is I'll go back to my index file. So I have to go File, Open. So I'll go File and Open. I'll go back to my index file and I'll add another row to my table. So I need to get to the bottom of my table. I'll click in the last cell and I'll press Tab key on my keyboard. I'll type canopy with a capital C, canopy completely in lowercase, and canopy in capitals. If I then save this file, File, Save, and close this file, File, Close, I can re-index my file. Canopy does not appear in my index, so what I'm going to do is go to the References tab in the ribbon, Insert Index, and ask it to AutoMark the document again, based on my file index. It won't mark those words it's already found twice, it'll only mark new words. So I'll click Open. I can see there's an index entry for canopy, so I'll press the Home tab in my ribbon and I'll tell it to show hide. I don't want to see the index entries. I'll then go to my index and I need to update my index to account for the fact that I have extra index entries for canopy. So I'll go to References in my ribbon and I'll ask it to update the index. Also, you can press the key F9. If I update the index, I can now see I've got canopy in my index and it's on page 4.